It's not uncommon for Sigma to deliver different versions of the same lens that further optimizes the overall performance, especially with their art lineup. Well, recently Sigma sent me out the next iteration of the 24mm 1.4 Art Series Prime, but this time it's had a DGDM makeover and now it's fully optimized for mirrorless cameras. Along with the 24mm, they have also sent out their new 20mm F1.4 DGDM Prime as well, and since they're very similar focal lengths and have the same build quality, I thought I'd bundle them both into one video. So the new 24mm and 20mm F1.4 have the same amazing build quality and features that we've already seen in the other DGDN Art Series lenses, like the 85mm F1.4 for example. There's an AF/MF switch, an AFL button that's fully customizable, and my personal favourite feature of all these Sigma lenses is of course the aperture declick switch. There's just something so satisfying about the way they've actually implemented this feature to their lenses, and being able to go from a clicked aperture for photography to a declicked aperture for video is honestly a godsend. The 24mm features a 72mm filter thread size, while the 20mm has a 82mm filter thread size that makes the end of the lens a little wider than the rest of its body. The new 24mm is quite a bit bigger and heavier than the Panasonic 24mm f1.8, but this of course comes down to the more premium build quality and the extra 2/3 of light that the 1.4 aperture gives you. It's fair to say that if you did want the absolute maximum build quality in a stills and video lens, then the Sigma lenses are definitely the way to go for the L mount. But if you want lighter weight glass with better AF, then Panasonic lenses are the place to be. That's my takeaway from trying a bunch of L mount lenses from both of these brands, and I do use a mix of Sigma and Panasonic lenses for my work, so I really have no favourites. Image quality wise, there's really nothing to dislike about these lenses, and they share the same incredible characteristics of all modern Sigma glass, such as the incredible micro contrast and the same levels of sharpness. To be honest, there isn't much of a difference in overall sharpness and image characteristics with a 20mm f1.4. All of the Sigma lenses are very sharp and render images beautifully, so I guess the 20mm will be an option to those who are looking for just a tiny bit more space in the frame compared to what you get with a 24mm, but for me, it's more than likely that I'd use the 24mm more. For stills, the autofocus on both lenses was pretty snappy and smooth. Occasionally there was a bit of that classic Sigma pulsing, but once you hit the shutter, you'll definitely get an in-focus image. Sigma lenses on the L mount system have always been okay in my experience in terms of AF in stills mode, so the same was expected of these lenses, and I didn't really have any major issues at all. For video, the quality still remains. I always use a 24mm prime to film the parts of my videos where I'm addressing the camera, and I also use 24mm primes for wide talking shots when filming interviews as well. The image coming out of both lenses while shooting video is just as superb as it is on the still side, but of course, unfortunately, there's the same focusing issues in AFC as we've seen with every other Sigma lens on the L mount. There's a lot of pulsing, and sometimes it does take some time to find a subject, but to be honest, I think this is expected from L mount Sigma lenses by now, and really you'd be looking to get one of these lenses primarily for its superior build quality and image quality. Okay, so I'm currently filming this on the Sigma 20mm f1.4. Just want to test the AF performance of this lens. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be quite similar to all of the other L mount Sigma lenses in terms of, you know, sort of sluggish performance in terms of AF. It's mounted onto the S5 using my normal AF settings, but I mean, if I just move my head back, how long is that going to take? Are we in focus? We got it. And then I'll move my head forward again. Okay, looks like we're here. So I mean, it's not too bad, but again, it is quite sluggish, and I am filming at 1.4 because ideally, if you are going to be using this lens for this sort of thing, then you want to utilize all that sort of, you know, depth of field you get with a 1.4 lens. I'm sure that if you stop it down slightly, of course, there's a little bit more that's going to be in focus, so the performance will be a little bit better. But yeah, I'd say it's usable, but it's not like, you know, rapid fast. Take it with what you can. So, would I recommend these lenses? Well, I mean, I definitely recommend the 24mm 1.4, that's for sure, since it's such an awesome lens, and I think everyone should have a 24mm prime in their kit. However, for me, the 20mm just feels a little bit more niche and sort of loses its place in the lineup since it's just too close to 24mm. I mean, if you feel like 24mm is too close and 16mm is way too wide, then I guess 20mm will make sense and probably be for you. But for me, I use a 16-35, so I have all the wide I would need in that lens. And then of course I use a 24mm for these talking shots, and you know, wider interview shots and stuff. So the 20mm occupies a weird middle ground that I rarely find myself using. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it somewhat useful, entertaining, or interesting, and if you did, then please subscribe, because I do make a lot of videos surrounding the L-mount ecosystem, so if that's your thing, then this channel will definitely be for you. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and hopefully I shall see you in the next one.